And just like that, the forgotten rise from the deep, as the Universe website is awakened, but not by the hands of League of Legends. No, for the first time, Wild Rift actually gave us confirmed canon lore. Now yes, in the past, Wild Rift had quite a few lore events already, but it wasn't until this point that something that came from them got confirmed on the Universe website. Now by now, most of you will know that Wild Rift just got their first unique champion, which is Norra. At this point, we talked about Norra 3 times, and every time we joked about one thing. Will she get some lore? Well, I am happy to announce, yes, she did get proper lore, as if it was a proper champion in League of Legends. Meaning the whole universe gets expanded. And this time, as if it was written as a modern champion, the bio we got is actually written as a short story. In case you don't know, during the golden age of League's lore, every time a new champion came out, they got their bio, which was a basic summary of what their lore is, but they also got a short story, which was a special story that was written from the perspective of that champion. That one usually told us what that champion was doing at the present day. But ever since the new seasonal system came out, new champions only got their bio, but the bio was written from their perspective. It is a new format, it worked pretty well for Yunara, and so now Riot is just going with it. Though Zahen was a little bit of an exception. Which means we're about to do one thing. We are about to dive into the canonical story of Norra. The story begins in Norra's home, specifically in her library. This is the place we've seen numerous times in the art surrounding her, which mostly means we're talking about Legends of Runeterra. Here, everything was alive. Every book she went through reacted to her touch. Some books got bigger, wanting to be read, while others shrank, attempting to hide. And Norra addressed them all with a wave or a pat. Then she hopped onto a massive tower of books that swayed around, helped by the Yordle's magic. On her command, the tower shifted to the left, helping her find what she was looking for. The thing is, Norra was no ordinary librarian. She didn't just collect books about history or literature. She also had pieces on topics others wouldn't even care about. Namely, there were such examples as All the Hubbub About Shrubbery, Yordle Etiquette for Beginners, Rock Solid, A Story of Stone, An Elongated History of Taffy, or Pleasing Poems for Pirates. But interestingly enough, the library didn't house its knowledge only in the books, for Norra knew that the most value was held in the memories. And such, she could pull out a memory full of wisdom, wonder, heartbreak, or heroism out of even the most mundane objects. In the paws of a skilled sorcerer, these memories could be used to unlock the secrets of the past. But more importantly, they could also be used to open a doorway from one place to another. Norra's paws specifically could use these to connect the tea house to a bathroom, to perhaps another realm. This was a skill that only a few Yordles possessed. At this point, Norra was looking for what she described to be a confounded knick-knack. Eventually, she revealed it to be a piece of a strangely shaped mass of metal. No one knew what it was for. Was it an instrument for birds? Because it was well shaped for the beak of any kind of a bird? Or was it a cartographer's guide? Perhaps it was used to map out the stars. Regardless of its former function, it now served another. Norra could use it to access the memories of its previous user. However, before she was able to grab it, this little doodad was knocked off of a shelf. It was falling down quickly, but Norra managed to catch it in midair, as the tower of books she was standing on coiled like a serpent, keeping her balanced. And that's where our friendly feline companion, Yumi, hopped into the scene. And she immediately dropped into Norra's arms, curious about where the doodad could lead them. Norra simply replied, well, that's the next part of the puzzle. She began fiddling with the item, lightly tapping it, turning it, but she couldn't figure out what exactly it was for. Being curious, Yumi joined the inspection, after which it didn't take long and Yumi began playing with it. It was at that moment that Norra tried to stop her, because it so happens to be that Yumi accidentally pressed a small button on the bottom of the item, which a moment ago Norra noticed. And that button just happened to read, "Do not push." Suddenly a sharp screech came out, and the device started spewing out glowing goo. It was a rainfall that covered the entire room. Norra quickly covered Yumi and her precious fur in a protective bubble, before asking her to find the off switch. After a while, Yumi finally pulled a lever that was way too small for a normal paw, and the goop generator stopped. At first, the friends got a moment to silently regather themselves, after which they burst out into a laughter. Norra asked Yumi how did she know it was the right lever. Yumi replied she didn't. And she wondered why would Norra even want such a thing anyway. And somehow, Norra just couldn't remember. After this, as the friends delighted in their messy misadventure, the scene faded away. In the next scene, Norra wakes up somewhere else. Somewhere really far away from home. It turns out this part of the story happens after Yumi's bio. Though unfortunately, even that story didn't reveal what exactly happened to Norra or how she got lost. There it was mentioned that one day Yumi just got back home and Norra was missing. Well, at least here we got that same story from the perspective of Norra. When she woke up, she was clutching the device firmly, as the impossible architecture of the Realm's End swirled around her. Now, the Realm's End is the magical crossroad that connects all realms with portals. It was previously depicted in Legends of Runeterra, where it was revealed that only powerful Yordles can use it to travel around. In fact, we only know about 2 Yordles who can do this at will, those being Norra and Gasper. The assumption then is that when all other Yordles are using their own portals, they lead to the Bandle Tree, after which they then leave the Bandle City using the portals of the Bandle Tree. In other words, all the other Yordles don't hop between the realms directly. Anyway, back to the Realm's End. Here, Norra was lost. She looked at the device in her hand, and she noticed the button has changed entirely. Now it said, "Lost? Push me." In her heart, Norra knew that this device would prove itself to be useful, though she didn't fully know why. She then turned it over in her palm, relieved that it finally chose to cooperate. There was no magical cat that would assist in the cleanup after all, no playful purr to fill the silence, no unkept fur to smooth back into place. That's when Norra's resolve returned. She would find her way back to Yumi. And so, with a press of her paw, she activated the device, and now it chimed with music that reminded the listeners of their home. Norra concentrated hard on the memory that came out of the device. Before long, a portal flickered before her, sown from the threads of an afternoon spent with her dearest friend. She stepped inside and disappeared. And that's how the story ends. So now, let's talk about what actually happened. So, we know that at some point during Yumi's story, Norra gets lost. She was transported somewhere else, and we know it is linked to a missing page from the Book of Thresholds. Now, the Book of Thresholds is the book that Yumi is traveling with. And in fact, now it totally makes sense how that book even works. Since it was revealed that Norra can create portals from memories that lead to that place, it makes sense for every page of the book to contain a memory of a different place, which is how they would be able to open the portals to all the places that are in the book. I'm not gonna lie, that is a really cool way to explain that magic. Now, before this happened and before Norra got lost, according to this story, Norra and Yumi had their little goopy misadventure, which left a memory of that misadventure in the goopy device. And here, at the end of her story, we saw Norra channeling that specific memory to open a portal back to the library, which is where the memory happened. In other words, there is a chance that at the end of Norra's story here, she and Yumi may get reunited. And I'll be honest, I really like how this story with the portals and the memories kinda tie into all the other trees and dreams and portals that already exist in the universe. I mean, Runeterra is full of trees that just link everyone. The easiest example here could be Lilia. Lilia is protecting the dreams on a tree that link everyone across Runeterra, and so it's cool to see how this can be related to the magic that also connects the Bandle tree. And again, the using of memories to open portals totally makes sense, though it does bring some more questions about how Yordles use the portals in general. But again, the assumption is that other Yordles use the portals to travel to the tree specifically. On top of which, we are talking about Yordlish portals specifically. Arcane or rune magic likely works differently. Finally, there is then one more thing that we can talk about, and that is the quick summary on the front page of the universe. There, we get one more thing revealed about Norra. Norra, the Portal Mistress, is an esteemed magician and keeper of the most enviable library in Bandle City. She weaves colorful threads of memory into her crafty realm-hopping portals, proving that magic lies in even the most ordinary trinkets. Ever the curious Yordle, she was accidentally transported to a far-flung realm when she explored the Book of Threshold's mysterious final chapter. Now, Norra must summon every ounce of wit within her to find a way home, where her faithful cat Yumi waits patiently, and the kettle is always warm. So yes, it was confirmed that Norra got transported away by the last chapter of the Book of Thresholds. Which pretty much confirms one thing: I am pretty sure the last chapter of the Book of Thresholds is the Lost Chapter. Because while originally the Lost Chapter had a Shadow Isles face on it, well now it has a Bandle City thingy on it. Don't tell me Riot didn't do that on purpose. And so right now, it really seems like this Lost final chapter is a setup for something in the future. Because we still don't know whose book it is or what's really the purpose of it. We just know that Norra was using it to travel around, while the contents themselves might actually be irrelevant. What matters are the memories in the pages. What we do know, however, is that we should be getting ready for possibly more stories coming to us from Wild Rift. Again, in the past, Wild Rift actually had quite a few events already. But it wasn't until this point specifically that any of them got canonically confirmed. Which also means that from this point on, it actually feels like League of Legends and Wild Rift are connected with its story. And they better be connected, because now there is a chance that Wild Rift might get more unique champions. And if there is a chance we get more, well then, there's also gonna be more lore, and I'm not gonna complain about that. So all we need now is for Riftbound to also give us stories on the universe.